Welcome to the Maria Heller Show, the internet's original podcast. Since the year 2000, always ahead of the curve, always on your side. A true warrior for truth and justice, Maria and her guests leave nothing out, and no one is off limits. There is only one truth, the rest is lies. Sit back, enjoy the education with a true daughter of Mother Earth. Sharp New York wit, spiritual knowing, and a very dry sense of humor, Maria will dissect the news and lies to make it all palatable. Education is power. Maria delivers rapid-fire truth like no one else can. Here she is, the mouth that roars, the legendary Meria Heller.
Good morning, world. Maria here, alive and kicking. Welcome to Stars Are Us. Yes, the month of November is over, and here it is, December, the last month of 2017. I can't believe it. I'm here with my co-host, Joe Anthony. If you're not familiar with Joe's work, check out his YouTube channel and absolutely get on his free email list at planetswithin.com. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Maria. Hello. Can you believe it? This year has flown by.
In a way, it's flown, and in a way, it's been 1,000 years long. So
yeah.
It's hard to tell. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But it almost seems like time is accelerating anyway because of whatever this energy's happening, whatever it's doing, it seems to be changing our perception of reality, as I've been saying all along.
Well, we're finding out that our reality is pretty much a whole lot worse than we used to believe it was.
That's for sure. But as I like to say, we haven't seen anything yet.
And I have to agree with you. I have to ask you on an astrological perspective. When we talked about last month's astrology, what do you think about all these people since then that have gotten busted for sexual harassment?
Well, not surprising at all. Remember when we talked about Jupiter going into Scorpio, the sign of sexuality? This is not surprising to astrologers because Jupiter is about truth. Jupiter can bring out information, expand, make things larger. And then Scorpio is all about sexuality, sexual innuendos, sexual in every way, but it's also kind of like a transformational energy. So Jupiter going through Scorpio all the way until October of next year. We're going to continue to hear about sex scandals, whether it's Hollywood, politicians. I heard that Matt Lauer a few days ago was fired from NBC for something for sexual misconduct.
Well, I guess he liked walking around the studio in his underwear and locking women in his office and then having sex with them in fear of them losing their jobs. So listen,
great.
I mean, he's just a small example, but you look at this and you're saying this is going to continue. In a way, Trump's the one that brought this out, and yet he's still president, and nobody wants to investigate the 16 women that have accused him. Do you think it'll get around to that?
Well, that's a tricky one, Maria, because with regards to Trump, whatever the heck is going on behind the scenes, and I keep saying it, he is being protected by either the generals or he's being protected by somebody that's watching out for him and opening doors for him, just like every other president. But there's a lot of stuff going on with him outside of the sexual misconduct and all these allegations and whatever's going on, that he seems to be guided in some way and is told, just keep your mouth shut and we'll go, we'll protect you. But obviously he can't do that. But I think it's beyond the sexual misconduct. I think there is a battle, if you will, I keep saying it every month, between the state and the people that are trying to hold on to power. And I don't know which side of the fence he falls on, to be honest with you, because of the other stuff that's taking place.
It depends on every
arrests.
It depends on any given moment. 1 minute he says one thing, the next minute he says another. I don't think there's anybody he hasn't pissed off. His comments to those Native American code talkers was so bizarre. I couldn't even believe that he's still in office. I don't know whether he's pretending, and some people are postulating that he's going to use, his senility or whatever as a reason to resign.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We all at the beginning we were looking at his astrology, saying that there was going to be some changes to Trump, and he'll have the option, or he may resign. I personally think, and this is what I'm going to suggest is going to happen. When the economy crashes or changes in some way, okay, because these next 3 years are the most pivotal, and I know we'll cover that in next month's show as we cover 2018 and what to look forward to. As the economy continues to shake, rattle, and roll, I think there's going to be some major power plays that take place. Now, at that point, he is either going to say, okay, enough, I don't want this anymore, I don't need this anymore, I'm going to get out of here. Or he's going to be a one-term president and choose not to run again, according to his birth chart. Okay, and that's just what I see, my opinion, one person. And I couldn't care less either way. Right. I'm more concerned about who's running the show behind the scenes. And, what kind of new system are we going to have in play? Are we going to have the same corrupt families and corporations running the show? Or are we going to have something new? And so I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think he's going to get assassinated. I think he's going to just say, I don't need this anymore. And he'll either resign or he'll just be a one-termer and be on his merry way.
No, let's hope it's the resign. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't think we can survive a full term. Joe, this month's astrology, December, it's usually a happy period because everybody's celebrating the holiday of their choice. Does this look like a potential happy month?
Well, of course, anytime we're dealing with Sagittarius energy, and that's what we're doing this time of the year, we always have that feeling of optimism. As I wrote in my newsletter, a sense of optimism, joy, we feel good, we want to explore. And as we begin the month, we have Venus there, we have the Sun, we have Mercury now, and Saturn, of course, which is always the one that kind of limits. Saturn is like the governor on a car or a truck. You can only go so fast.
Right.
So, but usually this time of the year, we feel more optimistic. Now, this is going to be a very tricky month because I know we haven't gotten into it yet, but Mercury's going to go retrograde again. Yay! Mercury.
How long this time?
Oh, it's always about the same, 3 weeks. And my electronics have been acting up already. But what I mean by tricky is because Mercury's going to go retrograde. And then at the same time, we have this full moon in Gemini. And so there's going to be all this scattered energy at the beginning of the month. And then towards the middle, I would say around the 9th and the 10th, when Mars enters Scorpio, we have this intensity level that increases. And so the drive, the determination is going to be quite high towards the middle of the month where people just want to get the hell out of town. They want to go see some stuff. They become more aggressive. And this could be in a military sense. This could be in a political sense. This could be on a personal level where we just feel restless, like we don't want to sit still and just get in the car and drive. You see? Right. So, but of course, leading all of that is the confusing Mercury retrograde that's saying, I don't know where I want to go. I don't know what I want to do, but I'm going to do it. Okay?
Right.
That's the mindset. And this is why we hear politicians like Trump making stupid statements that come out of their mouth without thinking. This is the kind of energy we're being influenced by right now. Just talking at the top of our minds, not making any sense, pissing people off. That's the kind of energy we have at play in December, Maria.
Well,
all right.
Merry Christmas. If they get this tax bill through, it'll be a Merry Christmas in words, but there'll be coal in everybody's stockings.
Well, look, the economy is teetering. It is absolutely teetering. We've talked about this before. People are concerned about spending. In other words, because of the internet, because of what's happening to us emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, we're becoming more uncertain about the future. And so people are just watching what they spend, or they're spending just, like drunken sailors, don't care. I'm just going to go buy that. I don't care, whatever.
Right.
Just to feel good about their lives. I mean, let's face it, because we're not sure, and I mean this generally speaking, we're not quite sure where the hell we're going. So we're holding on to things. We're buying stuff that makes us feel good. We're eating at restaurants. I mean, I see the restaurants are jam-packed around here. I'm like, okay, retail's a little shaky, but restaurants are doing well. Food is comfort. Food is enjoyable. Food makes us happy. So it's kind of like a mixed feeling, a mixed message that we're getting overall with the economy, you know, and the numbers reflect it. I mean, the real numbers, not the crap that we see on mainstream media.
Right. I saw an article that said that Bitcoin is at like 10,000 and they're predicting a bubble burst.
Yeah. Well, that's because most of these countries like China are taking their money, they're taking their gold, and the investors are dumping it into Bitcoin to stay away from the collapse. And anyone that knows what's going on is literally taking their money and putting it somewhere where it's safer, whether it's real estate, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's actual gold and silver. You know, they're hiding their money because they know the dollar is on its way out. The only reason it hasn't collapsed is because the big criminal banks like J.P. Morgan and Bank of America and all these, Morgan Stanley, these Wall Street firms have been propping the dollar up.
Right.
You know, and
I'm sure they're propping the market up too. I mean, the market's at ridiculous figures, right?
Right. J.P. Morgan got fined billions of dollars for propping up, or for actually manipulating the silver market. We know this. This is fact.
Right.
You know, so that's the only reason the dollar hasn't collapsed, because it would be too detrimental to the world economy. It would be a domino effect. You know, the dollar collapses and boom, everything else starts to collapse. So in a way, it's a good thing. In another way, it's not.
Right. So what are we looking at here? I was looking at your newsletter, and you said that there's a Jupiter-Neptune trine through most of this month. What does that mean? Okay, now a trine is very favorable in astrology. That's 120 degrees apart from each other. Now Jupiter entered Scorpio, and it's a water sign, and Neptune has been in Pisces for quite a while, since 2011, I believe. And these are both water signs. And when they're at that close proximity, which is 120 degrees apart in the zodiac, they act very favorably. It's easy going. Mm-hmm. So Jupiter trining throughout the month, because these planets are the outer planets and they move very slowly. When they're at that alignment for most of the month, they're very close to each other, within 1 or 2 degrees in astrology, which is very favorable, which means that feelings may be expressed very easily throughout the month, because Jupiter is very optimistic. Neptune is kind of like very happy and jovial and can be a little unrealistic, but it's very intuitive. And when these two are together, especially with Scorpio and Pisces energy, there's an intuitive feeling to just express your emotions, because both of these water signs are associated with water or emotions. But couldn't that also mean that they might express their emotions in a negative way?
Oh, absolutely, especially with Mars in the picture. Mars is going to be in Scorpio most of the month.
Yes, I got to tell you this, Joe. After we did our show last month, and I think I remember you saying that Venus was entering our whatever on the 21st. Mm-hmm. As soon as that hit, 3 people I know, one a long-term relationship, another one short-term, another one not so in between, they all exploded. I mean, they just exploded. Mm-hmm. Everybody broke up. So... Is there a reason, sometimes these aspects can be negative as well as positive?
Sure. The moon is the trigger. I've always said that. Every astrologer knows that the moon is like the trigger. I mean, you could put the bullet in the gun and, load the gunpowder in the bullet and put the bullet in the gun, but there has to be a trigger. There has to be somebody pulling it.
Right.
So the moon, or a tough aspect, winds up being that trigger. And so, yes, it's very volatile right now, and it will continue to be, because, these waves of energy that come in and trigger the astrology make things very impulsive.
Yeah, I mean, have you noticed that? I know you get to see a lot of people. Have you noticed a lot of breakups? I mean, at the same time, I have seen other people fall in love, but I got to tell you, the breakups were 2 to 1.
Yeah. Well, of course, when we're going through Sagittarius is a free spirit, okay? And it doesn't like to be tied down.
Yeah.
So, and many times people get into relationships just to be in relationships. So when these transits of, go into motion, and we have signs like Sagittarius, it's easy to say, bye-bye, I'm out of here, I'm gone.
Right.
You know?
Hey, I do know. I am the ultimate Sagittarian.
Yeah. As opposed to the water signs like Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces, who like to hang in there, and because they feel an emotional attachment. Oh, I can't let go. I feel so connected to this person, even though we don't have any connection anymore.
They hang on even when it's over. I don't even understand that, Joe.
Right.
Because I'm not that way. Astrology is a very interesting thing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And when you understand the basics of this stuff and you begin to see the patterns, it's like you've discovered the holy grail of the universe.
Right. Well, as I'm reading your newsletter, because I know how you talk, and I get you so much, and then I get to this paragraph. When you started with "all the fun begins" on December 3rd, I started laughing out loud because I knew it wasn't going to be positive. Because I know your humor. All the fun begins on December 3rd.
Well, that's a high energy day. The only saving grace for that day is, not just the full moon, is that Mercury slows down and goes retrograde. So there's going to be this sort of scattered energy coupled with this confusion about the past. And so make no doubt about it, as I started off the newsletter, we are going to take one last look at 2017 before the new year. And that's what's going to happen. So we're going to be pushed in two directions at that full moon.
Right.
Forward and back. Forward and back. It's like, it's like you getting into a car and okay, I need to go forward, but wait, I have to back out. I'm not sure which way to go first.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. But you know what? It's interesting that you mention it because I didn't even connect the retrograde with my computer giving me a problem earlier. And Mac, I don't know if you know, and Joe, if you don't, and anybody listening, okay, if you're using Mac and you're using the new High Sierra, you have to go in and do an emergency update because they pretty much had a wide open back door in the program. So, of course, I go and do that right away after I post it and call all my family to upgrade their Macs, right? But right after I do that, my mail program, it's like all my folders are gone. And I'm not stupid, Joe. I know my way around computers. I could probably build them now. I tried everything known to man to get them to show up. I call Apple. She gets on with me with the share the screen crap. She hits the same button I hit about 20 times, and bingo, it comes up. And I said, yeah, okay. And then I said, Mercury retrograde always hits us a little early.
Sure. Well, not surprising. I've been having some minor glitches as well on my PC. Not so much the Mac, but it acts up, occasionally. But, but I really attribute all of this to these solar waves and these flares.
Right.
Space weather a couple of days ago had one. A geomagnetic storm, not as powerful, but they are affecting us. And, we've been talking about this for a while. They are making a difference on the electronics, without a doubt.
Oh, I agree. And there's all kinds of weird stuff coming off the sun, coming off the moon. And, I get those reports and, sometimes I report them, sometimes I don't. It's just like, whatever. It's only going to make things worse. This full moon, what's so special about this full moon?
Well, it's a supermoon. It's another one of these supermoons that's a lot closer to Earth. Mm-hmm. And anytime we have that, of course, the magnetic pull is going to be stronger. And so it's a very powerful moon because it's in Gemini, number one, and because Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is going retrograde, number two. So it's a very tricky moon. Our minds are going to be extremely active. All right. I don't know about you, but I've had a few days where I've had restless sleep, or my mind felt like it was on overload.
Absolutely. The past 3 nights, and I got to tell you, this the first 3 days in a row in my life that I actually took a nap because I didn't sleep. Mm-hmm. And that never happens to me. And my brain is going 24/7, and it feels like my crown chakra is on fire.
Exactly. And so when we have a full moon, that is the sun opposing the moon. And then we have Mercury, which is the communication planet. So Mercury rules sort of the brain waves and the information that we receive. And when that's going awry, or, and it's sandwiched in between the full moon, there's that confusion factor where it's like we're opening up to all this information, but we don't know what the hell to do with it.
Right.
And that's what this full moon's all about. So be very mindful about what you're doing while you're driving, computer issues, anything to do electronics, because we are sort of affecting them as well. And so it's a tricky, no doubt about it. It's a tricky full moon. We all know it.
Right. Okay, so now this retrograde kicks in on the 3rd, and I think you said it lasts till the 22nd. So wouldn't you suggest that the people should order their Christmas or whatever holiday gifts early because they might actually not see them?
Well, retrogrades get a bad rap because it's about going back. There's confusion involved, communication, usually. But they don't have to. It doesn't have to be that way if you prepare. Right. Okay? So if you're going to order something during a retrograde, let's say, you could expect it to be delayed, or especially around the holidays, but you can expect some glitch. Maybe the vendor is out of a product or something like that. There's always something tricky in the mix. So just prepare for it psychologically. Okay, I'm going to order this. Let's cross the fingers. Make sure it gets here on time and everything works right.
Right.
Right. It's not a guarantee that something's going to go wrong.
No, but it does help to know, because I know a lot of my friends who used to poo-poo this. Now, when stuff goes wrong, the first thing they say is, "Oh, Mercury's in retrograde," and that calms them down. So just the understanding helps.
Yeah, well, it's all psychological. It's how we view the world. And so Mercury, the first thing we should think about when Mercury goes retrograde is retro, the word retro, going back. So the thoughts, the mind, everything starts going backwards. And we have memories from the past. We start feeling like we need to connect with people. We start redoing things that we did before. There's this feeling of deja vu at times, Right. And so that should be the first mindset. Okay, retrograde, review, revise, revisit. Great. Next would be, all right, am I dealing with electronics this retrograde period? What do I need to do? Do I need to back up my stuff? And I'm going to be doing this myself, right after I get the phone with you.
It's so funny you'd say that, because I just finished backing mine up while we're talking.
See? So I'm taking the files and I'm backing them up. Because if something crashes, I can quickly get back up there. So you do stuff like that. And this is what I mean by preparing.
Right.
All right? And expect maybe a little irritation with something. And you laugh about it. This is not working right. All right, that's retrograde, Mercury playing its little games again. All right, whatever, I'll deal with it.
Right.
Well,
what else you going to do? Right.
Right.
So now we have Mars coming into Scorpio on the 9th, which from what I could see, what you wrote, this is a very strong masculine aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what does this mean? Are men going to be more abusive than they already have been?
Well, that can happen. And if women have very strong Mars in their charts, they could be very aggressive as well. But, the energy of Mars is an impulse energy, all right? And so when it couples up with Scorpio, the intensity planet or symbol, okay, the sign that represents, I'm not going to let go. The obsessive behavior is associated with Scorpio. And so when you've got Mars, the impulsive warrior that wants conflict and wants friction and wants a challenge, entering this psychosexual sign, passionate sign of Scorpio, guess what you have?
Right. Well, you got to look at Mars too, and the fact that North Korea has shot off another, supposed ICBM. We don't really know. And so many nations supposedly planning for war, including Russia. I mean, could we also see retaliation during that time period?
I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say it because I know and I sense what's going on behind the scenes. Remember, Maria, that the pedophilia network and all of these scandals are trying to cover up the real story. That is, Washington does not want the world to know about the deep pedophilia that's going on in Hollywood and in Washington. So whatever is going to happen, it's going to be, again, the mainstream media putting out stories that are trying to hide another major story. Okay, and right now the sex scandals are very hot.
Right.
Okay, so right away, North Korea. Right away, you're going to probably see this month another false flag incident. Okay, and so look for those. Retaliation, no. I believe and I feel, and I do meditate on this. I do pull a few cards. I do a little meditation and go, show me what this situation is all about, or show me what this North Korea, and then I look at the astrology, of course. Mm-hmm. And what to me, what it indicates is there's some strategic moves being made behind the scenes to try and counter something. Mm-hmm. So whatever we're going to see this month, it's going to be in retaliation to something that's going on already. So, and of course, as I've mentioned before, the bad guys are being cornered like rats. And when I mean bad guys, you know what I'm talking about. Right. And I know your listeners know what I'm talking about. The banksters, the criminal cabal, the people behind the scenes. They're being cornered like rats.
And they need to be. I like that people are protesting outside their homes. Protesting, where their children are. I mean, we have to do this. Otherwise, all is lost. Exactly.
Keep exposing the real power brokers behind the scenes. Keep exposing them, the bankers, right. the Vatican, all that. So this is in retaliation, but according to my sources, and of course, I don't believe all of it,
right.
They are being arrested, and even worse than that, they're being taken care of, removed permanently, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, I hope so. I could make a list, check it twice, find out if you were naughty or nice. Okay, well, at least the month looks like it turns around on the 17th with the new moon in Sagittarius.
Well, this one is what gives the rest of the month hope. Oh. Sagittarius energy is very optimistic and fun-loving, and, they're like, I have a good time. And when we have a new moon, we have a new cycle, an emotional cycle. So we have, in other words, we have a new emotional cycle, a happier emotional cycle that begins on the 17th. Okay? And that's what this new moon is going to be about. It's like, all right, whatever's going on, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to look forward to 2018 in a new way. I'm going to just be happy and enjoy every aspect of my life. That's basically what this new moon is all about. But getting back to that Mars in Scorpio, let me just finish off real quick with that. There's just an intensity level. But the upside to Mars in Scorpio, Maria, is that we see through the BS, because Scorpio is a very psychic sign. And so we will look at something, a topic, a situation, whatever it is, and we'll see right through it. And so that leads us into the new moon in, a few weeks later, the new moon in Sagittarius, which is basically is very visionary as well. Sagittarian is very visionary. And so between the two, I think between the Mars in Scorpio and the new moon and the Sagittarius energy, our reality or our perception of reality should be very clear, even though Mercury's retrograde.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, because Mercury doesn't stay retrograde too much longer after that.
Right, but it's still in Sagittarius as well, though.
Right.
It'll stay in Sagittarius the rest of the month. So
well,
that's visionary.
Right, as a Sag, I'm beyond visionary. I was born snooping out the bullshit. So I guess this will help me move into what Superman's X-ray vision. It'll be X-ray vision time on the bullshit.
But
I don't mean to laugh, but I'm at that point in my life where that's all I can do.
No, you've got to laugh.
I'm sure my listeners have noticed me giggle a whole lot more lately than before. Okay, so lucky everybody. When we move around, Saturn comes into Capricorn on the 19th. Now that can't be good.
Well, it's kind of not, but this is where, and we'll talk about this on the next show in the new year, Saturn going through Capricorn for the next couple of years, okay? And your listeners and you know that Saturn in Capricorn is the sign that it rules. And this is all about government. This is all about corporations. This is all about our jobs. This is all about the economy. This is all about the powers of this planet that have been controlling it. And so Saturn entering its own sign is going to be like a heavyweight, like I wrote in the newsletter. There's a heaviness to it. Okay, there's a sense of responsibility. There's a sense that I have to put the effort in if I want to get rewarded for something. And so we're going to feel that. And it may come through the economy. It may come through, changes in the economy, changes in the political system, changes in our lives in general through work and our jobs. And so we may see the biggest changes coming in the next 2 years with everything regarding the powers that shouldn't be. And so this is where we'll see the heavy hand of government taking place. We'll see more responsibilities at work. We'll feel it too, Maria, because Saturn at times can feel like a heavyweight, like we're carrying a 60-pound bag of potatoes strapped to our back and trying to move forward.
Right.
You see?
Right.
But the upside to it is we become more responsible in general. We want to do a good job. We want people to appreciate what we do, that kind of stuff. But make no doubt about it, Saturn is the taskmaster, and it will put us through the ringer if we're lazy, if we're just don't give a crap.
Right.
And it'll say, "How bad do you want this? You're going to have to put some effort into it, buddy."
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Hey, I know a lot of people who expect things to just fall out of the sky. So,
right.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Joe, we're going to take a short break. Stay with us. Joe and I will be right back. It's the holiday season, a season of giving. Well, this holiday season, give a gift that lasts all year, the gift of knowledge. Consider gifting everyone you know a subscription to my show right here at Meria.net. It's not just news. There's loads of spiritual, environmental knowledge, as well as tips on being as healthy as you can be. You may also consider giving yourself or someone else a private consultation with me. I love giving people the proper direction for their life based on their own blueprint prior to arriving here. Just send me an email with the name of the person receiving either the consult or subscription you paid for, and I'll set it all up with a note with who the gift is from. What better time than now to give the gift of knowledge? Sunbear used to say taking in knowledge for the sake of taking in knowledge is a waste of time, and that knowledge only becomes wisdom when it's shared. Now, back to today's show. Hi, this is Maria Heller. If you're enjoying this show, please consider listening to the rest of it along with hundreds of other hours of education by a small subscription on my site. Get over to Meria.net, Meria.net. You are the only thing that supports this show. There's no corporate control, and there's plenty of education on site. So please consider either a subscription or a donation to keep the work going. There are too many alternative voices out there that are being silenced because of lack of support. So if you don't want MSM to be the only mind-controlling news out there, please consider supporting the people that support you and help us all save something for the future for our children. Thank you so much.